Sewing techniques, and today we are cutting this dress into. I'm getting you mounted right now to this tripod, but we are cutting this dress into. The reason why I chose this dress to go live about is because of all the ruching, all these little pleats that go along the contours of the dress. It's just going to be a little bit more complicated. So I thought it would make a great live project. So we're going to disconnect it right at the waist, and we're going to shorten that waist by 1 inch. This dress is way too big for the bride. So I've shown you guys how we shorten the waist, cut it apart, and shorten it, right? But this is going to be taken in a tremendous amount. So here's my notes for this project. Disconnect, shorten 1 inch. We're going to tighten the bodice 1.25 inches folded each side. Okay, that means 2.5 inches total. So we're going to have to bring it in about this much on each side, which, as you know, is quite a bit more than standard. You can tell this girl is quite petite compared to this dress. So shorten here, bring it in here, and then also reduce the bust 3/4 of an inch folded. So that means like this much. We have to reduce the bust. And looky what we have here. So we've got this kind of going over it. So I thought this was pretty complicated. So it would do super good for us to do this as a project together. So excited about that. Let me get a handy dandy fresh razor. Welcome, guys. Welcome to my live. Don't forget, every Thursday from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard, we're going to do a live. So basically the directions on this dress, on my notes, say, remake the dress down to scale, down to her size. So this is like a, regular full-size dress for a full height girl. And we got to make it really, really small. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And let's get this thing disconnected. I can't remember what she said about the back. I'm going to leave the back just in case she wanted the back to be high. I'm leaning toward that. I'm thinking she wanted the back higher. Because if you shorten it in the back, the back gets so much lower and then they lose support. And so I think she wanted support. Are you guys all paying attention to everything at going on in New York Bridal Fashion Week? I have been posting lots of stories on Instagram. So if you guys want to, if you don't already, you can follow me on Instagram at Bridal Sewing. And I post lots of updates of things that are going on, dresses that I think are pretty and so forth. So this is my last shift that I'm working for the week, and I'm heading up to New York City as well. So this is kind of weird. They did not pre-sew these layers together before they attached the skirt to the bodice. That was not very nice, was it? So what I'm going to do, thank you for the thumbs up, guys. That's awesome. It helps me so much because then YouTube will push it out. All right, so since this is coming apart, I'm just going to pin it as I undo it. And then I'm going to put that back together. That's kind of crazy they did that, wasn't it? They weren't thinking ahead. So I'm going to keep on trucking here. So yeah, I'm going up to New York City I'm going to leave early tomorrow morning, and I have it's kind of like a new collection release going on that I'm going to be attending with a designer. That's going to be super fun, and I'll bring you guys information about that. And yeah, I'm going to spend the weekend there shopping. How many of you have been to the Garment District in New York City? Tell me in the comments, because I'm going to look at the comments soon. It's kind of funny they call it the Garment District because that's, where people used to be able to get the supplies. Oh, it's sewn together again. That's so weird. People used to be able to get the supplies, and there were like sewing factories and stuff there. And so, the whole idea of the garment was all focused in that area. I'm sure there's still some of that going on, but I feel like the Garment District mostly, as we know it now, is more like what we would probably call it nowadays would be more like a fabric and notions district. So there's still, there's still some sewing contractors and stuff there. It's just nothing like the boom years. I remember talking to a designer, I forget who it was. It might have been someone with Demetrios, but don't hold me to that. I was up in NYC, and they were talking about the difference in the numbers of sewists and actual manufacturing up there, how much it has gone down from what it used to be. So it's kind of sad, kind of a sad decline, but I'm interested to see what it's like. I have not been up there since I was looking at the pictures the other day. I'd like to kind of do a before after. I went up right before the pandemic. So it was like, I think it was August or September of 2019. And I, got lots of footage and made lots of contacts and was going to kind of even make some content for you guys about it. And then the pandemic happened, and it was really sad. A lot of the contacts and stuff, like when I would look them up, the business would say closed permanently. So I don't even know what happened to those people. It was very, very sad. And my the coverage that I was planning on making was no longer applicable. So I have all those files just sitting on my computer. But I did think about visiting the same places and kind of filming before and after and just doing an update. Like, hey, this place is closed now. Hey, this place, yeah, it closed down, but there's this new business, or, this place is still here, that kind of thing. Do you guys think you would be interested in seeing that? I think it sounds interesting, but it's going to be a lot of work matching that stuff up. So I don't want to do it if you guys aren't interested. That would be sad. Spend a couple of weeks on a project that I could have been making other content you would have preferred, and then I would get like 200 views. That would be awful. All right, so you see how deeply I'm having to take this apart. And this is a really different way to cover this arm's eye. Most of the time, nowadays, it would always be just kind of terminated like that. But this one section has no lace. And the rest of the time, if you had no lace, they would have terminated it like that. Isn't that different to do that? So I do appreciate the thumbs up, guys. That helps so much. It doesn't cost you a dime, and it really helps me. So I really appreciate that. All right, so what we're going to do here is, for those of you who are joining, we have to completely deconstruct this dress. Obviously, we're not going to get all that done today in this hour, but I have to completely deconstruct the dress because this girl is way smaller, like in every way, than this dress. So we have to disconnect it at the waist. Oh, here we go. Focusing issues. There we go. Disconnect at the waist, shorten it by 1 inch. And then I need to tighten the bodice 1.25 folded each side, which means 2.5 inches each side. Crazy amount. And then reduce the bust 3/4 of an inch folded. So that's 1.5 inches. So think of the total reduction that we're doing on this dress. And the reason why I wanted to show it is because we have all this going on that's complicating things. I can't just take this in this much and this be okay. So I'm going to have to undo all of this, peel it back, take this in, reconnect, have a fitting, make sure it's right, lay this back over, tack it, spaced out right, and then recover the edge. So it's quite a project. So thought it'd be fun to take you with me. All right, I'm going to read comments for a few minutes. So if you guys have any comments or questions, you just let me know. Let's see. I'm under Instructor Lupe. I'm undergoing a gastric surgery to lose weight. Wow, you are so brave. But I know, sometimes that's just what you got to do for your health, but it sounds so scary. Let me see what you're saying. Let's see. It went away. So my plan is to alter my dress as I'm losing weight. So watching you, I'm learning. Yeah, we do get some gastric bypass brides, and it is dramatic what we have to do to the dress. Sometimes they just have to get a different dress. All right, so Tammy says, yay, I'm excited to see a bust reduction in a pleated bodice. I have one on the mannequin to do this week. Thank you for teaching me. Let me just say, Tammy and everybody else, there's so many names for this. And sometimes I say that bust reduction, reduce the apex of the bust, different ways of saying it. The technical name for this, if you have to look it up, like in a sewing book or online or something, it's called a small bust adjustment. Okay, small bust adjustment. And I don't like to use that term with my brides. I'll just say, oh, we're just going to reduce the cup size or reduce the bust a little bit. I'll say it like that. Because small bust adjustment, it's just like sometimes the terms for sewing and also body terms can be so offensive. So, yeah, so that's how that is. Good morning, Naomi, BST Bestie. Good morning. Did you see, Naomi, the information that I updated on the membership page about the virtual retreat that's open to you guys now? And then also, what was the other thing I posted on there? Hello, Chris, BST Bestie. Also, the other thing I posted for members only was my hunt for that perfect invisible thread that I was doing this week. It did come in, and so I showed you guys that new invisible thread and that the Gutermann invisible. That's just the Gutermann invisible thread is not compatible with my Singer. They're just not getting long, so I had to go back and find that it's like a Tex 8 or something. It's a really light, very light invisible thread, which I loved. But I found the right thing, and I did link to it with the membership stuff. So that's fun. All right. So with this, I'm thinking, I know I need to remove this, but I'm thinking it's probably going to open up the whole shebang. Probably. So I might as well just go ahead and dive in, right? Like I said, it's a total remake. Totally rescaling this. No stone unturned. You didn't even know wedding gowns had stones. Well, this one does. And we're turning them all. All right, so can you guys see okay? I'm not even looking at it. Make sure it's focusing. I do need to get some fancy schmancy lighting set up for you guys so you can see it more. This is just your basic overhead lighting, and I do have other lighting. So hopefully we can do some fun stuff with our lives. Do some of my high contrast lighting. All right, here we go. And I want to do a really comprehensive video too on uh, doing a small bust adjustment, reducing the size. This one, it's dramatic enough that I would like to do it, but this would complicate things. And this gets into like draping and pinning and all that on the dress form. And I really don't want to go into that. Um, you guys know I like to kind of divide what I'm talking about in the videos. So it's got to come in this much. Tremendous amount. So all of this has to be moved. Every last bit of it. Good thing I have good spatial memory. If these were numbers, like phone numbers or something, oh my goodness. I can't remember a phone number to save my own life. Do you know when somebody asks me what my phone number is? This is embarrassing, guys. This is how bad I am at remembering numbers. I have to look up my own phone number on my phone. I'm a mother and I love my children. I mean, I love them, love them, love them. But I cannot tell you their phone numbers. I have to look them up. And I feel like too, of course, a lot of that stuff is because we have them in our contacts and we don't physically dial them anymore. Because when we did that back in the day with phones, I could memorize phone numbers. So I think it's just the crutch makes it a little worse. But yeah, when I'm calling my kids, I'm calling them by their name. I don't call them by their number. That's ridiculous, having to use a number. All right, so we've got that peeled away. We gotta rock this world here. And however we change this here to bring it in the 1.25 folded, when I say that, I mean it like this, 1.25 like this. So it ends up being a total of 2.5. It's going to change things here. And then this is going to be lower down. So this is going to be misaligned. So all this is eventually going to have to be redone and tilted like that. I hope you guys are like mentally following along with what I'm saying, because as you know, this is going to take hours. I think I set aside in my planner just for the first segment, just to have her kind of try it on and make sure we're on the right track. I'm going to sew for 3 hours for this first segment. And obviously my live is only an hour. So I'm not going to be able to show the whole thing on here. So I wanted to talk you through it. All right. I'm going to disconnect this at least to the 1.25 in the back. I'm going to leave the back attached to the waistband or the waistline. All right. Open all this up. Open, open, open. So my friend there in the comments was talking about the gastric bypass. Have they made you like diet and stuff a whole lot before they give you the surgery? Right now, I will tell you all, I'm not like on Atkins diet because I feel like that's not like super healthy for your organs. So I don't want to do that. But I am reducing my carb intake. And it is hard. It is hard. What is your favorite way of losing weight? Is there such a thing as your favorite way? And I feel like a lot of the parents can relate to this. Like, you just feel like when you're a parent, you've got to put your kids first. And it's like me working, I'm making money to help support them. And so in a way, I'm working for my kids, right? And then my, exercise and stuff just gets put back on the back burner because it's so time consuming And I just feel like I need to give my time to them. And it's not like I can say, well, I need my health to be a good mom. Like, because it's not like I'm extremely unhealthy or anything. It's not like my family is suffering because of my health. I would just, I'm like everybody else. I would love to just drop, 20, 25 pounds, something like that would be wonderful. It's not a tremendous amount. But man, it's hard reducing carbs. And I'm trying to drink better. Like, instead of drinking like diet sodas, trying to really just do like my hot tea or iced tea, like for the winter. I think hot tea is going to be my friend. I just brewed some before I started the live, so I'm going to get that in a minute and be sipping on it while I go through your questions and comments. Don't forget to put questions and comments in there. Be typing them up, because here in a minute I'm going to look and you're going to want me to answer your question. All right, so here we are. Woo! We are disconnected. So what I typically do to finish off disconnecting it when I'm not shortening the back is I go ahead and disconnect it somewhere within the strap. And I know we're going to have to take up her straps here. So I'm actually going to cut this. It's going to be fine. This is not a situation where I'm like, oh, but if I cut it, like, she can't let it back out to the original size. Like, no, this will never be able to be let out to its original size. We're going to change it so much. And I know that this absolutely doesn't fit her in the straps. So I'm not concerned about it. Just going to go ahead and snip it and set this free. So now we've got the whole skirt area is separate. When I'm doing this big of an alteration, a lot of times I tell the girls to be prepared to come to the next fitting, basically like where they'll try their dress on with like yoga pants. So I don't even have to sew it together at the skirt. I can hold this up on her body and make sure this reaches around to the side of her side, right where the side seam should be. Just pull on it. I can do that and make sure that this is hitting at her natural waist now. Or if I have the time, I can sew it back to the sides. I can take in the sides of the dress and sew it to the bodice sides and just pin the straps together. And sometimes like I'll just go through with safety pins and pin the skirt to the waist just so it's not like flopping loose for the fitting. So that's kind of how I handle that. I'm going to go ahead and take the boning out even, because that's going to have to be moved as well. Everything is getting moved. So far, guys, tell me in the comments if you've been following New York Bridal Fashion Week, hashtag NYBFW. If you've been following that, which designer do you think has released the most exciting stuff for this, their collection that you just saw for the first time this week? Tell me in the comments so we can think about it. Honestly, you guys probably, if you follow me a lot, you already kind of know who my 3 favorite designers are. Jenny Yu, because of her fabric choices. I just love her fabric choices, and her style, like the way she designs things is just so classic. I just feel like you just can't hardly get any more classic than that. And they're so clean. Now, these 3 designers I'm going to name are completely different from one another. And then the other favorite designer, and they're kind of all a tie too, is Claire Pettibone. Oh my goodness. Claire Pettibone. Gorgeous. Just the way that she uses color and laces, and her style is so distinct. Like, you could just pick out a Claire Pettibone gown out in a crowd and you'd be right every time. So distinct and just so feminine and beautiful. And I feel like her designs just celebrate everything about femininity and beauty. So Claire Pettibone, also because I'm just a lace lover. Um, and then Monique Lhuillier is my third, for not in order. Remember, these are my three favorites. Monique Lhuillier. She's kind of like a mixture of all the things that I've already said. Like the laces, the fabrics that she uses, amazing. Such timeless silhouettes, like very, very classic silhouettes. And yeah, super feminine and stuff. I just love her look. So, man, Claire Pettibone's shoot that they kept posting, I thought that was so cool. They were posting, and it's in my highlights on Instagram, guys, at Bridal Sewing. But I'm saving a highlight reel that says New York Bridal Fashion Week 2, because I think I filled up one. But the behind the scenes of the shoot for Claire Pettibone was amazing to see the set design with all the flowers and stuff. It's so inspiring. But I think so far the collection, and I haven't seen it on the runway yet. I just saw the video that they released at a chateau in France, is Monique Lhuillier's. I just felt like hers has been just, I don't know, just so beautiful. And I'm not like a competitive person. I don't like to rank people. So I'm not like saying anything negative about anybody else at all. There's just been one amazing thing after the other, and you see where I've posted those. All right, here goes chat. Let's see. Let me go back here. Hello from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. No questions, just a huge thank you. You are welcome. And Chris, I go to Lancaster once every year or so. We go up to Sight and Sound. So this past year when I went, it was actually like a month or two ago. I met up with her name's So Glorious Creations on Instagram, Fran. I don't know if you know her, but I met up with her. We met up at the outlets, and that was fun. Top Cat, interesting to watch this. Thanks. You're welcome. All right, let's see. Miss Giselle, good question. Hello. Not sure if you mentioned, but I recall that you mentioned you take your big iron with you for your trips. Do you take an ironing board or something to iron on, or do you just steam? It depends on the job. Like, obviously, if I'm doing wedding day services and I'm bringing my iron, guys, here's my iron. Bringing my iron, I just pack it up in a suitcase and I bring it. It's like a rolling suitcase. If it's a dress that I know I'm gonna have to press, it's like silk and I gotta do some dry press or something like that, I'm gonna travel with my ironing board. If it's at like a hotel conference center, I'll know that they're gonna have an iron board for me. And then in a pinch, of course, you can lay towels down on a bed and do that. It's not great at all, but you could do that if you had to. And then for steaming, I can usually use my over-the-door hook, or sometimes if it's like a real strong, okay, we're talking about like metal, commercial grade, hospitality, commercial grade, I'm forgetting the word. The transit blinds. It's not called transit, but it does start with a T. I can't remember the name of it. But the blinds that you go like this, and they're on the little hooks, and they go this way, or you can pull the thing and they go like that. I used to make them back in the day. Those things were expensive. Anyways, if it's like metal on a metal track and all that kind of stuff, sometimes I'll, like in a hidden way, I'll sew like a super strong tailor's tack near the top along the edge of the lining of those drapes, and I'll hook my coat hanger in it and I'll hang the dress from that. Now, of course, you have to use common sense with that. if you have a 35-pound dress, you're not going to do that, you know. But if it's a lighter weight dress and it's a commercial grade, um, oh, guys, help me out with the name of that. Anyways, it's a commercial grade, not the rod, but whatever. And it can handle it, then I go ahead and do that. So that's what I do with the iron. Oh, super exciting. I did find a woodworker. I just Googled woodworker near me and found like open to the public professional woodworking shops. And I found mounds. They gave me like showed me where mounds of white oak sawdust was so I can make my own tailor's hams. So I'm super excited about that. Here's my collection. And I'll show you. I've got my vintage ones in there. As you guys know, I prefer the vintage ones. They're just amazing. And they're so hard and dense. Vintage, vintage. This is like modern. Let me see. Look at the difference. All right. I'm squeezing with all my might, like I'm literally shaking. There's no comparison. This is so much more solid. This guy, look, he's still misshapen. Dritz needs to like step up their game. Anyways, and I have another modern one down there. But I made a couple like oddly shaped ones. This one I thought would do nice in a small, like a small bust cup. And I just made them the other day, and so they need some time to settle, and then I'm going to stitch them a little bit more to tighten them up and compress them a little bit more. But I mean, I made it. This one's pretty full. I stitched it. I did a ladder stitch several times to keep tightening it. So this will work for all kinds of little curves. It's shaped completely different. Very free form kind of idea. This one I thought would do good for like a plus size cup. I wanted it round. I want to do a whole series of cup sizes. Oh man, they're like $50 on Etsy if you buy a tailor's ham made for a cup. You know, the different sizes. So this guy still needs to be tightened up, like big time. Just, I guess because he's so much bigger, it was hard for me to get him compressed. So it's still got some squishiness to it. So I'm still working on shaping it when I use it. And then it's going to need lots of hand stitches all over it to really tighten it up. And then I'll probably cover it with one more piece once I get it as tight as I want. Another thing I thought about doing to get this to settle a little faster is, you know, those, they're like a seat pad that you can get that's got like the heated and vibration. You like push the button for it and you can sit on it and it just does the vibrating massage seat cover. I have one of those at my house and I thought about just laying it out on the floor and putting my new tailor's hams on it and just let them just and it would like legit make that stuff settle in a little faster. Because every time I squeeze it, you know, it's dramatically like more loose. This was completely tight when I finished sewing it first. So this is a work in progress, but I got 2 huge shopper bags of sawdust. I'll be posting about that soon. So, all right, back to our crazy, crazy alteration. And I'm going to read some comments. Thank you so much for the thumbs up, guys. It's free. It's free. You can give me a thumbs up and it doesn't cost anything. All right, let's see. Hello from Canada, Jacqueline Zone. Hello. Naomi. Yes, thank you, but maybe next year for a retreat. Oh, fun. Yes, let's do. Let's do. All right, Jacqueline's Own. First time since April of this year, I do not have any bridal work to do. Whoo! Isn't it nice? Do you guys do this thing like you just like work and work and work and work and work and man, as soon as it like slows down a little bit, you're like, "Oh, I needed that so bad. Like I was so overworked, so stressed." And then like you enjoy the idea of resting for like, I don't know, a day and a half, and then you start to stress because you're like, "Oh no, the money's not flowing." I kind of do that. I just go back and forth. Like if I'm not working, I'm worrying about money. And then if I'm working, I'm wishing I could like rest. Such is life, right? All right, let's see. Jacqueline's own, I'm on a whole food plant-based diet and I have a lot of weight without any effort. Wait a minute. What are you saying? And you have a lot of weight without any effort? Do you mean lose? I eat rice or potato every day. I'm on a whole food, plant-based diet. I have a lot of weight without any effort. Maybe you're saying you have lost a lot of weight without any effort. Maybe that word's missing. I eat rice or potato every day. So you're still getting your natural carbs. See, I think that's healthy to do that. All right, Chris from Lancaster, BST Bestie. Let me know next year. I'm in. I don't know Fran, but would love to look her up. Yeah, look her up. So Glorious Creations in Lancaster. She's super active on Instagram. Yes, Jacqueline, gotcha. You lost a whole lot of weight with no effort. That is awesome. That's what I need to do. That is what I need to do. So yeah, Chris, that would be awesome. And guys, I am open to meetups. They're super exciting. When I go to a city or whatever, like we were talking about a couple weeks ago, I go to Pigeon Forge or whatever. I'm happy to meet you guys. Super fun. All right, so let's get back to this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with taking this in, and then I'm going to take this in. Because, like, you don't want to do work here and attach the dress, and then you've got to deal with this, right? I'm going to work from the inside out. I will give you a sneak peek about when I do my video on the small bust adjustment. I have one on my channel, but it only shows like one way. And then I think I have a short about doing the ladder stitch on a lace one where you just like it just comes together, and that's amazing. But I haven't done one where it's like super extensive and you actually have to like take it apart and you're really taking it in a lot. And you can't just go together like this. You've got to actually take it apart and walk the ends out the top and reshape the top. I haven't done a video like that for you guys. So I definitely want to do that. So that's coming. Little sneak peek for you. So yeah, I'm looking at where this goes. So from here, this one up, they're the ones that are going to be affected, right? And that's awesome. That just means I got to let this go. I don't have to let this go. See that? I only have to let this go. And we don't want to like release more of it than we need to, because we're going to have to like hand tack all of these again and press them on the dress form. This is why it's so important to make sure she has a fitting before you close all that off. We're going to press it on a dress form, and then we got to sew all that down. So for those of you who haven't seen the inside of these, see that? All those little tacks we got to put in. Here we go. Are you nervous? Are you guys nervous? Tell me in the comments. You nervous about me taking this apart? I'm not. I mean, look at how far we've come, right? It's got to be done. All right, so they've got to tack some there. You can also see how much you'll have to resew by looking in here. See the stitches? All of that we'll have to redo. Thank you guys for my thumbs up. That is so kind. That is so kind. We talked with 2 more potential sponsors this week. One of them, I'm signed on to be an affiliate, and I'm super excited. Every time that I get a new affiliate or a new sponsor, you guys should do a happy dance too, because as you know, I really try to integrate my affiliate stuff into what I do. I don't make you sit through like some long ad that has nothing to do with nothing. It's like integrated. It's something that I use, you know, with what I do. So it's not going to be annoying to you guys, and it brings in more income for my channel, which means I'm allowed to take on fewer sewing clients, which means I'm able to create more video content for you guys without it costing you anything. So you guys do a little happy dance every time I get a new affiliate or sponsorship relationship. And you can even put in a good word for me. If you find a company that you feel like is a good fit, say something to them. Be like, hey, why don't you sponsor so-and-so? All right, so what I'm going to do is, like we said, we're bringing this in 3/4 of an inch. Since it's covered in this, and it's a pretty, like, they're pretty railroaded. There's not much that you can see through it. I will try to sew it together like this first, and just make sure if we get any kind of little pucker that one of the ruche folds cover it. I'm probably going to try to do that rather than take it apart and feed the excess up here. If this were just a dress like this with nothing covering it, I would have to do that. I would have to just take this apart and feed it out the top and reshape this so as to not have any puckers and have it lay smooth. But I would really rather not have to do all that. Plus, this dress is so big that if I were to only take it in on this side of the piece and not the center front panel as well, it would not look right. Let me show you what it would look like if I did that. It would not be pretty. Because you got to think about it. Remember how small she is. I've got to shorten by an inch and a quarter, and an inch and a half. Like, that's how much we've got to scale this down. So if I were to not take it in on both sides, she would end up like, I don't know if this pencil is bright enough. It would end up pulling this way by how much I'm taking it in on the sides. And her princess seams would be pushed out to the side, instead of being right down the front where they should be. So it's all well and good to take it in a couple different ways and take it in an easier way and whatever. Take it in only one side or the other. But when you're reducing it this much, you just have to take the whole thing apart and scale it down usually. So we're going to try and see if we can just reduce this. Just like that. All right. I have hours and hours of sewing due today. And I didn't get very much sleep last night. I like to think things out. And you know how I said I was going to New York City this weekend? I was like doing the itinerary in my head, trying to sleep. And I was like, seriously, like thinking about the itinerary, thinking about like, oh, okay, what mode of transportation am I going to use to go from point A to point B? I just save up for my trips for like cabs and stuff. I am not getting on the subway. Nope. I've done that a few times. I'm claustrophobic and I have this childhood trauma memory of getting lost on the subway. I got separated from my parents on the subway when I was 6. So, the subway is not a happy place for me. It's very nerve-wracking. Here I'm undoing all these little ruches that I'm going to have to put all these little tacks back. I'm getting ready to look at the comments, so if you have a question, let me know what it is. All right, let's see. Wow, thank you for the thumbs up, guys. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. Let's see. Oh my goodness, we've got like garbage comments in here. Do you guys see that? Nobody click on that. Your innocence will be stolen. Oh, crazy people. Delia, giddy up, giddy up. We're going to be going to Gatlinburg again soon, Del. If you guys want to meet up. I already have another BST bestie I'm going to meet. I'm excited. Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Sevierville, all that. All right, Dina. Oh, honey. Money is always appropriate on this channel because I'm about teaching you bridal sewing techniques and how to get into the bridal sewing industry, which means you gotta make money. So I like talking about money. So Dina is saying maybe this is not an appropriate question, but how do you charge for work like this? Maybe you can tell us a price range, please. Okay, so you have to take into account, of course, this is a worldwide, it's like global reach on YouTube. So I don't usually talk specific for money just because it's not helpful. Because there's people who live, 4 miles away from me that have to charge almost triple what I charge. It just depends on your local economy. So it's really hard to say. But for this job, I can tell you her price that I gave her was definitely very high. It's one of my higher quotes of the year. And it's easily exactly double of what most of my brides pay for a full set of alterations. Okay, so the reason why I answer it that way is I want you to think about, okay, if you can take up a bodice, do a hem and a bustle for $500 on average, then you would know that I would be charging like $1,000 for this, or you would be charging $1,000. That's basically how this worked out. I didn't figure it up that way, but I figured it up by how many hours I thought it was going to take me, and it's going to take me at least twice as long. So yeah, this bride's bill is twice as much from what it normally is just for getting it to fit her, because we're scaling this puppy down. All right, let's see. I hope that answered. Let's see. Demetra, hi from Greece. Hello. What a beautiful place to live. That's amazing. Let me go get my tea because my throat's getting sore. I'll be right back. Just a second, like 10 seconds. All right, I'm back. Let's see. Thank you guys so much for the thumbs up. All right, let's see. Is this tulip or tulip? Interesting spelling. Hello, I'm a bridal consultant. Is that how you say? Yes, that is how you say. Bridal consultant is someone who helps the brides, like it's kind of a stylist. They help the bride pick out the dress that's best for their body type, I guess, and budget. So, yeah, that would be that. Let's see. And this is so interesting to see. Yes, bridal sewing is so interesting. I love to watch others do it, and I just love doing it. One thing I always wondered is why the little bones sticks are so soft. Is this just a matter of cost, or would it be uncomfortable to have some more rigid ones? That's a great question. It's a little bit of both. Certainly, when the bones are wider and stronger, they are less comfortable. And it can give a more rigid look to the dress too. But typically there should be, now this is impacted by the style of the dress, but there should be some type of correlation, I believe. This is how I do it in my designs anyways, between the size of the dress and, you know, what size we're assuming the bride will be. Because of the size of the dress, there should be a correlation between the width and the strength of the boning and the, you know, the type of lining and whatnot, the support that we kind of, you know, bake into the dress. So, you know, it'd be different if you've got a 2 or a 4 that has all this kind of boning. And then I would like to see the, you know, more like the 1/2 inch stuff inside of more of a plus size dress. And, you know, you see a mixture like this somewhere in the middle. What's really sad is when you see a very curvy plus size dress and this is all they have. That is not enough. So they would have to wear kind of like a supportive undergarment, or they would need to have that stuff added to it. So yeah. All right, let's see. Delia, yes, we'll be there Thanksgiving week. Wow, I wonder how busy it's going to be that week. We are not there Thanksgiving week, so we'll be missing each other. That's sad. But yeah, I wonder how busy, because the traffic was horrible last year. All right, let's see. And that's it for the questions. Anybody else have any questions that I'm happy to go over with you? Money questions or otherwise. I did just put a new short out today, if you guys want to go see it. And it's about what drove me to quit my teaching job. I was a public school teacher. What drove me to quit that and start doing something else? And am I happy with the change? Yes, I am. So, tulip, right? Okay, thank you very much for answering my question. You're welcome. All right, so yeah, the next thing I'm going to do is sew this stuff here. Let me see if there's any more cutting table work that I can do so I don't have to move you guys, because we only have 6 minutes left. 6 minutes left. Where did I put my tea? Fire away your questions. Fire away. Otherwise, I'm going to move the camera to the machine and I'll just kind of sew on this a little bit, but we're not going to be able to get to a good clear stopping point. So I don't know how much sense it'll make. I can also show you stuff like with my iron or supplies or anything. Oh, I remember one thing I wanted to show you guys. I might do a short about this. All right. When is it okay to use fusible webbing? Do professionals use it, and when is it okay? Well, hint number one, you see it. You see it in my cutting room, right? That's hint number one. So, yeah, I use it. Now, do I use it like to fuse lace sides down and not sew them down? No. No. I don't use the fusible webbing instead of sewing. I use it to stabilize what I'm getting ready to sew. And it's also really good, like if I'm going to sew like a lace overlay, and I like fuse it down to the main fabric first, and then I go back and stitch it. I kind of like the idea that like wherever I've pulled my thread through, it's gone through some fusible webbing. And so when I press it, the ends of the thread are going to be fused. So I really kind of like that. So that's a good reason. And you can get them different ways. You can get them where they are permanent, or you can get them where they wash away. So I think it's important to have both kinds, and it's important to have heavy and light. And this quote is important. Look at this quote. I love this quote. I'm like really zooming. I hope you guys can see. You don't get paid for your time. You get paid for your value. And that's super important to keep in mind as a small business owner. Otherwise, you are going to severely underquote yourself because you're going to think of yourself as an employee, and you're going to fail to remember the value that you're bringing is all of your overhead cost, your skill, your tools, your decision making, your experience. It's not just your time. If you are 17 years old and you have no experience and you're just showing up at the fast food place, they give you a uniform to wear, a hat to put on your head, and they tell you everything to do, that's when you get paid for your time. Because there's nothing you can contribute yet if you don't own anything and you don't have any experience and you're that young, right? Once you start getting experience, hey, you could be like brilliant and natural and you could have lots of experience by the time you're 17 and a half, and you can move on to the next level. So don't think I'm being ageist here. I'm just using this as an example. When you step out to become a small business owner, you have got to think about your value, not just your time. And I know we do figure out charges and stuff based on how long it will take us, but you're going to take that how long will it take us and times it by your shop rate. Your shop rate is your reflection of your value. So as a small business owner, your value includes what? Do you remember? It's your experience, your decision making, your muscle memory, the supplies you have on hand, your overhead, the location, and your time. So give me a thumbs up. Hit that like button if you love this quote. And I'll tell you, I got this quote. I don't know that he coined it, but I know I heard it from Roberto Blake. He does awesome stuff on here. He's super great with the, he does the Awesome Creator Academy, and he helps people, creatives, figure out how to make money. So that's great. All right, we're at 59 minutes. So I'm going to read through these comments and questions real quick. As you know, I don't hang up on the minute. So if you have a question, go ahead and put it in there. Let's see. EJNP. Hi, piggybacking on the last question. Are most dresses made assuming extra undergarments, or is the support supposed to be sufficient? Nowadays, the most popular thing that we see with the semi-transparent bodices that are made of like tulle and whatnot, I feel like they don't assume you're going to have undergarments because they would show. So they're expecting it to be built in. And a lot of times it's still not. And a lot of times there's nowhere for us to put it. Like I can't even add extra support because everything is see-through. So yes, I can take boning and I can wrap it with a ribbon, bind it with a ribbon that matches the bride's skin tone and put that in there. But you're still going to see them. So if she doesn't opt for that, then we have to do taping and get, booby tape brand tape that matches their skin tone and do that. So let's see the other question. Let's see. Goodness, here they're flowing in. We just rolled over an hour and here come the questions. I'm going over on you. It's fine. Susanna, welcome. Hello. I'm working on the highest bridal ticket ever. Good for you. Adding a custom lace top and sleeves, changing out the entire lining color throughout. Wow, that's a huge job. And massive gussets added along with the normal alterations. Rock on, girl. Make that money doing what you love. That's awesome. Marie, design. My dilemma is transitioning from a corporate job to sewing full time. Girl, that's where a lot of us are. That's my target audience, by the way. My target audience is not people who have been sewing for 30 years and they're here for confirmation. Welcome if that's you. I love you. I'm glad to have you. And I'm glad to communicate with you. Community is important. But my target audience for kind of like onboarding, my outreach, who I want to get on board here is your exact situation, transitioning from a corporate job to sewing full time. And that's what my latest short was about. So when this live is over, you guys go check that latest short out. It's very touching. I'm a single income home with a mortgage. Yikes, girl. I wonder if my sewing business will be able to support me. Yeah, so when you have some kind of hangers-ons, such as, you're a caregiver for somebody or your children or, the mortgage responsibilities or whatever, your responsibility is to them first and foremost. So what I would do is, it's hard, but I would just put in the hours and I would hustle. I would make sure I hugged my babies and let them know the world revolves around them and I'm working hard for them. I would not neglect them. I would honestly neglect myself for a few years and I would work the job for the security that we need to pay that mortgage. And I would hustle and do some sewing on the side and build that sewing business. So yeah, you can build it. And yes, in a lot of instances, you can make more money. I make a lot more money now than I did when I was a public school teacher. You just don't have that glass ceiling and it's awesome. But obviously when you work a corporate job, you have other things that are very important for a family, when you're a single mom, like health insurance. So it may even be that this becomes a long-term goal, that you don't quit your corporate job until after your kids are grown and they have their own jobs that can provide insurance. And I would be happy to consult with you about this, but I would definitely be a lot more careful. You have to be more careful. Think of it this way, guys. If it's just you, or if it's you and a family you're providing for, the risk is the same, right? I'm going to quit my corporate job. Is this business going to catch me? The risk is the same for both women. This is young, single. Nobody is counting on her. She lives with grandma, whatever. Very little overhead. This is single mom, corporate job, has kids. What do I do? The risk is the same of the sewing business not catching you, right? First of all, most of the time it does catch you. Very few, I don't really ever have anybody come back that says my sewing business didn't take off. And I don't say that to make you bullish and foolhardy, but it's needed so much. But there's a difference between risk and consequence. So risk is the same. The consequences are vastly different. Okay? What about if somebody says, stand on this ledge on your tippy toes? Okay. This one, who doesn't have anybody to provide for, her ledge is like a curb. Her ledge, it's got kids hanging on, needing her. Her ledge is like the Grand Canyon or the size of a building. Okay. So they have the same risk. They could both lose their balance and fall. But this one has the greater consequence. So you need to be more careful about isolating your risk when you have people counting on you, like a single mom. And my hat's off to you for working hard. But what you might want to do is just look at a long-term goal of saying, I'm going to sew 10 hours a week. I'm going to put in my 40. I'm going to sew 10. The rest of the time is for my kids. And do that until they're on their own. And then by then, I mean, your name is more than well going to be out. So that's the way I would go with that. All right, let's see. Schwartz Adventure 5. I'm altering a wedding dress made with 4 layers of tulle with applique lace. There are bust cups for modesty, but no lining, so her midriff shows and the side of her breast shows. She wants a lining. I bet she does. What is the procedure to do something like this? My name is Joni. Welcome, Joni. I actually have a video on this. So when the live is over, you can go to my channel homepage and look up lining or how to line a wedding gown or something like that. And it'll come up and I let you watch the whole deal. All right. Dina B, love your quote. My dad used to tell me, better sit for free than work for free. He meant not be paid enough. Don't you love those old family quotes? They stick with you, don't they? All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And I hope you're excited about the beginning of this project. And I hope that all these Q&As were super helpful to you. When I sign off here, I do still have the comment section. So if you didn't get your comment or question in on time, put it in the comment section and I do try to answer. And if it's something that I actually have to speak, it's like a longer answer, I'll have you jump over to Instagram in the DMs where I can voice memo back and forth. So you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to check out my short about me taking the risk and that change from corporate to working for myself. And keep in mind what I was talking about, risk. When I did it, yes, the risk was there. The consequence was not, because my husband was kind of floating us. So if it didn't work, we were going to be okay. And that's a privilege and a blessing. I don't take that lightly, and everybody doesn't have that. So you kind of have to have a different frame of mind depending on how you enter into the business. But anyways, I'm here for you guys. Leave any comments or questions you have. Have a beautiful, blessed week. Bye.